ShipRocket has emerged as a new age logistics and end-to-end supply chain support company. Some of the biggest e-commerce players in the country use ShipRocket's platform to fuel the growth of their brands across the country. Vishesh, thank you so much for joining in. Please have a seat. Thank you so much. The next speaker for the evening, we have a seat here. And to moderate the panel, we have with us Mr. Naveen Honagudi. Naveen is a senior VC in the country. He has worked at K Capital, which is one of the growth stage company in the VC fund in the country, and now he is the managing partner and founder at Elev8, which is again a growth stage fund, part of the venture catalyst family. Naveen, thank you so much for joining. Requesting the team to kindly get a chair for Naveen. Thank you. Naveen, just allow us a second, we'll get a chair for you. Naveen, over to you.
Hello. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your patience. I'm sure all of you are waiting for the Deputy CM, so I'm sure we'll not take much time. Maybe I'll request Vishesh to give a quick background about ShipRocket and what you'll do, and I'll request similar from Shreevatsa of Servify as well.
Sure. Thank you for having me. Quick background about ShipRocket. Hello. This is better. Yeah. Good. Sorry. So, quick introduction to ShipRocket. ShipRocket basically is a logistics tech aggregator. We more or less aggregate e-commerce enabler. So, if you want to start an online business, so we do everything starting from your sourcing, warehousing, shipping, all the way up to marketing, conversion, CRM, the entire stack. The idea is this ShipRocket should act as a one-stop shop, and if you want to start an online business, you should be able to do that with just maybe one employee in your room with a laptop, and you should not need any kind of physical assets or any staff. And we are trying to unitize the entire cost of operations on a per order level, so it's easy for you to calculate your unit economics. So because now your warehousing, your communication, your shipping, everything is unitized to the level of saying per order. So now you can do your maths around, if I have my sourcing at 40, what should I charge to make money on that? So it's easier for people to not have any fixed cost attached to their business, reducing the barriers to entry. You can start with just a small capital, and we completely take care of the entire supply chain operations fulfillment.
Got it. Thank you so much, Vishesh. We'll come back to you with some more questions. Shreevatsa.
Hi. Thanks, Naveen. I run a company called Servify. We work with a lot of the top electronic OEMs like Apple, Samsung, etc. Run their after-sales service business, which was never considered a business opportunity. But if you look at, I'll explain what we do. But if you look at what's in it for them, it adds to at least 40% to their bottom line. Because most OEMs don't make too much money on the hardware, but anything value-added services like insurance-backed care business. So if you buy an Apple Care, it's run by us. Samsung Care, OnePlus Care, Vivo Care, Bose Care, all the top brands. And I think it's now getting the required attention which brands never looked at earlier as an opportunity. So we run those care business for them. Of course, as a platform, if you walk into a Chroma or a Vijay Sales or any online, offline outlet, if you happen to do an exchange or if you ask for this care business, it's probably run by our platform. So that's what we do. We enable them execute this business, and this is now their second largest profit pool to all of the OEMs after accessories. So that's the business, I hope. And to add to, in a manner, we run the whole stack for them. We white label, right from underwriting, pricing, then taking care of the claims to running that entire platform. The OEMs, on the OEM side, they just need one or two people to just run the business. That's what we do as a company.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Just a quick question, Vishesh. If I had to ask you to pick between one of the two, have you created a new market, or have you taken away a market from the competition?
Yeah, I think we did create a new market. Prior to us, the concept of aggregation, having access to multiple supply chain solutions under a single platform, did not exist. It did, let me put it that way, it did not exist in India. But it did exist in the US, but in a different fashion. The problem in India were different. What difference I'm saying, in the US the problem was tracking. The problems were, there was no problem about the service levels. So in the US, when you use a USPS or a standard supply chain courier company, their SLAs are defined, they meet their SLAs, and it's not as complicated as it is here. But in India, the problems were different. The problems were with bulk pricing. So if you want to start a business and you go to a supply chain company with a saying that I need a contract, if you do not have a committed volume, you won't get the price. If you don't get the price, you won't hit the committed volume. So the problem is chicken and egg. You can't get one before the another. So there we kind of came in, aggregated the demand of maybe thousands of small businesses under a single contract, and then negotiated that contract with the supply chain partners. That made the pricing equivalent for everyone, even if you are an entry level or you are doing 10,000 orders a month. You both have equal opportunities at that point. So in a lot of fashions, we did create the whole idea around this. It did not exist before that.
Understood. And you mentioned, we can get started with a person, selling some articles from a laptop and making one order per day. And I'm assuming ShipRocket does target customers throughout their value chain and journey, shipping tens of thousands of shipments per day as well, right? The question here is typical classic way businesses are taught is terms of, identify your core segment, core market, and go after them. So if you would have asked me, I would have thought you would be focused on, companies or organizations doing, 100 shipments a day, or 1,000 shipments a day, or 10,000 shipments a day. Who is your core customer, and why do you exist in the entire value chain?
So my core customer is completely opposite. For someone doing 1,000 shipments a day, by the time they reached that scale, they have figured out a lot of the problems that might have arrived in the journey. Only then they are able to. My target segment is, if I want to say, majority of my customers lie in the average of 50 shipments a day, or even lesser. And we serve close to 150,000 active sellers. So my target segment is completely the small business owners, social sellers, individuals selling on Instagram, WhatsApp, housewives doing a part-time kind of business. So it's a lot of, the segment is kind of the long tail of the country, because why we exist, on the second part of the question, we exist because for them to reach out to these supply chain solutions is not easy. If they pick up the phone and try to reach out to a Blue Dart, they are not a prospective target customer for them, so they might not get the same level of attention, service, contract, rates, neither of them. We can act as a mediator and use the whole economies of scale model, saying, I have 1,000 of you doing one shipment a day, that makes me a 1,000 shipment day client, and I can offer the services that is shared by everyone, but I became that mediator. And the other biggest angle is the allocation. Who, what to select, at what point and how is a very important supply chain question. If you optimize that, you save a lot of money in the process. So that's where the technology piece comes in, because using almost millions of data points, we can now identify and do the right allocations and optimize the supply chain within the same system.
Got it. That's pretty helpful. A similar question to you as well. Are you taking a market away from competition, or have you created a new market?
Yeah, so when we started, there was no OEM powered subscription program for after sales. So there was no Apple Care in India other than you can walk into a service center when you have a repair need. But you couldn't buy an Apple Care subscription that will prevent you from any damages. If it happens, you would get a free coverage like in the US. So obviously when we started, that market didn't exist, so we took away market share. And of course today it has grown sizable. And of course there were overchoice of third-party offerings. I mean, if I buy an iPhone, I want Apple to service me, then probably an ICICI Lombard to service me, right? But that was how the market was operating, because it was being sold as an insurance for an accidental coverage instead of an Apple Care or a Samsung Care or a Bose Care. So that's what we started, and today of course we do a lot of transactions. We run the whole business for them, not just in India but across the globe in multiple markets. So we do about 3 million transactions a month in terms of the volume that we handle.
Understood. That's helpful. And typically, because I'm buying an Apple product, by default I get an Apple Care insurance product which is powered by Servify. How are you thinking about building a brand which is top of the mind recall for a consumer?
Yeah, I think we are very, very clear. We are an enterprise business. So I would rather not want my customer to know that there is a third party behind, like Servify, rather than an Apple. So of course, one day probably, Intel Inside is the vision. So maybe it still says powered by Servify, but in 8 number font. Maybe 8 number will become 15 one day.
Understood. And but going forward, is the intent to get into pre-owned phones as well as a business model?
Yeah, that's a large opportunity. I think, globally, unfortunately, it's operated still by the third-party unknown providers. The whole supply side problem is not yet solved, which is therefore also impacting the demand side. It's still, about 150 million smartphones, new smartphones sold in India. About 90 million of them upgrade every year, which means somewhere it has to go. But the official transaction is less than 1 million. So which means it still goes through all those Gafar market to, Taudes and everybody, right? So obviously brands are trying to participate in that space, but I think it is the question of trust that is still not established, or the sustainability which is still not seen. The moment brands start focusing on that, you will see that market getting organized. Today even most brands are still seeing that as more of a sales enabler by adding a little bonus if you upgrade. But what happens to the upgraded phone? It has to go back to the regular value chain. I think Europe has already taken that initiative. T-Mobile now does about 30% of activation on a used pre-owned phone, and they stand behind it. So once you start building that trust that, today's pre-owned phones are sold, the way it is sold is दुकान से बाहर जाते हैं आप वापस मत आना अगर प्रॉब्लम है तो चेक करके लेके जाओ. You have to create an ecosystem like the new one. Only then that will come to mainstay. But I think a lot of brands are trying that, and hopefully we'll do that. From a warranty side, for me, that's a huge opportunity, because the brands will not be able to give the manufacturer's warranty, but they can attach an insurance-backed warranty, which is what is again core to us. So it's a huge focus area for us.
Understood. That's pretty helpful. Vishesh, coming back to you, if you have to look back, right, I think ShipRocket started with a clear monopoly, continues to dominate that business, and you've scaled up very effectively. However, if I have to ask you 3 things which you think you would have done differently after starting the business, or 3 challenges that you would have faced during the process, what would that be?
I think I'll take the opportunity to tell the right ones. I think the right moments of a business. I think what went right for us. And the first thing that went right for us was kind of waiting for a right PMF. So as a business, we did pivot over the course of time. The company is 10 years old. The product ShipRocket is the 3rd product in our journey. The first 2 products we decided to kill after a point. So the first right thing we did was we went slow and waited out to find the right product for the market. That definitely worked in our favor, because the moment we found that, rest of the time we spent on the entire energy experience was spent on scaling it. The second thing we did well was, I think, defining the finance of the company a little bit smartly. So we never relied on external capital for daily operations. We always funded our daily operations with things some of subsidiary businesses or value businesses in the company that kept the payroll system out of the equity money, and the equity money was smartly utilized to experiment and grow the business. What I mean by that is, in a 200 people company, we had a 10-member system that was acting as an agency and building tech products for other companies. But that kept the revenue in the system, so we never had to worry about investing our capital. So that did well for us. And the third one that definitely worked out for us was having a physical offline presence. So while we are a tech SaaS business, we should have acquired a lot of the customers digitally. I think we called it ShipRocket Yatra. So we went to every city in the country with a model of doing a small gathering where people used to open. In tier 2, tier 3 cities, we had an amazing show up of people with questions who wanted to engage. That created a direct connect, helped us acquire customers at some point way cheaper than what digitally would have done for me. So I think those are the few interesting ones that worked for us in our journey.
That's a very interesting point, right, of acquiring consumers offline. Didn't you face resistance from your board saying that, hey, we invested in you thinking you're an online company, but why are you doing omni-channel approach?
We actually never told anyone. I think if your numbers on the front towards the end of the month, if you're meeting your targets by not burning enough, not going off the adopted business plan, I think people don't go that deep and ask those questions, like how did you do it? So we never had to face that saying, why are you doing it? It was working for us clearly. It was helping us build a brand. It was creating a direct connect. It was helping us acquire customers at the same time. So at the event itself, my sales team would have people used to line up and sign up for the platform. And then they became our influencers in their cities who used to tell other people about the product. So that connection helped.
And sorry, just one final question before we move to Shreevatsa, is that you're a two-sided marketplace, right? So who are you solving for, supply or demand, and if you can elaborate on that?
We are solving supply completely. So anything, the idea or the end goal of the company is any supply chain solution will exist on one platform. Now, as a business, you might need a B2B system. So you might need full truckload to do your retail systems. We have that. You might need direct D2C shipments, so e-commerce shipments or single package. We have that. You will need warehousing for B2B and B2B operations both. So we have separated them out. So we can do your B2B and B2C operations as well. For Bata, we do the franchise retail store fulfillment. So all the stock goes from our warehouses and the Bata.com shipment as well. So those kind of operations. Then you will need conversion stack. So how do I optimize my marketing? How do I convert better? How do I communicate better? Then the CRM stack. How do I get my customers to buy again? So all those chains falls under the same system. So we are solving the supply mostly. Warehousing or anything, a single platform.
Understood. That's pretty helpful. A very similar question to you as well, right? Are you solving, is it a two-sided marketplace in the first place, Servify?
Sorry?
Is it a two-sided marketplace?
So I think we are not a marketplace, to be honest. We work with every OEM, and obviously when you work with everyone, you become a kind of an aggregator.
Correct.
But
so enterprise is your customer.
Enterprise
right?
is my
And
customer.
That's what you're solving for.
Yeah.
Can you give us some estimates, how much ever you can, in terms of little nuance on the business model? What sort of claims come for your products? How is this different from claims coming in other industries? Why is it better or worse?
Sure. From a global TAM, it's over $150 billion.
In India? Globally.
Globally. I mean, consider this as typically about 10% of the product price is the price of the protection plan. That's the customer price. And there is about 15 to 20% attach possible. Now just take one segment, smartphone, 4.5 billion smartphones in use. 10% of them buy this plan and pay on an average 10% as the price of the product. That's the opportunity just on smartphones. And of course, today your lives are surrounded with every gadget, right? You have a phone, more than a phone, you have a tablet, you have a watch, you have an AirPod, you have a TV, you have a laptop, you have like so many gadgets. So the opportunity is just growing. And think of even electric vehicles, it's big iPhone for me, right? More with more sensors. So every single category is becoming prone to this kind of a product. So obviously the market is significantly large. Of course, every market and every product category follows a certain trend of claims. So in terms of the claim ratios, one of the factors which we use in actuarial calculations or underwriting the risk, right? Typically about 12 to 15% of the customers come with a claim. And that is because it's high. Obviously it's high. That's because only 10% of the customers buy this plan of the whole installed base. As that installed base goes up, like in the Western market, the attach is about 25%. So every 100 iPhones sold, there are 25 people who are buying Apple Care as a paid service. There the claim ratios come down because you're almost going against the selection bias. So obviously as the attach keeps increasing, like in a market like India where health insurance adoption is less than 1%. So people will not buy an insurance on a gadget, right? But we're still seeing that anything above $300, the attach is as high as 15 to 18%. So, I mean, you can imagine in India we run 1,000 crore business. Not the customer price, just what we bill to the OEMs. So, almost 2.5 times is the customer price. And that's just OEM branded. Think of the third parties and others. And we have not even gone beyond smart products. Appliances, electronics, etc. we are not even selling.
You know, at some point of time, just the first question is this a regulated industry? And the other aspect to it, I'm assuming the wishful thinking for you would be just like motor, where you have to renew your motor insurance every year. There would be something like this in your industry, right?
Yeah. So I think, obviously I believe very strongly that will be the future, where like the manufacturer's warranty, they will also give you accidental coverage as part of the deal. And you need somebody to underwrite and all of that. So that's hopefully the future that we are looking at. But, you know, from a, sorry, your earlier question
Is this a regulated industry?
Yeah, it is globally, not yet in India. There is lot of grey in India, but the way we run it, we underwrite 100% of the risk and write it with an insurer. So we run it in a regulated manner, but a lot of people run it as a service contract. But the moment you're promising a future service based on an accidental event, ideally it should come under insurance.
Okay.
But the law is still a little grey, so people have group policies, people have something else. Yeah, I think thanks.
Got it, that's helpful. Ravi, how much time do we have?
We can wrap up with the last question.
Okay, one last question. What do you think are the network effects in your business, if any?
Network effects are twofold. One network effect is if we are able to enable a lot of e-commerce businesses, those will generate whatever in terms of employment, GDP growth, but different completely. From my personal business side, network effect is if I am able to help one person run successfully a business, it just flows because it's a small ecosystem. The whole startup, D2C, it's an ecosystem, right? If you are able to even do that one city well, the network kind of elaborates from there. So you become the talk for today, where we stand today, and I think we did well. So we do not do any marketing right now. Our entire acquisition is organic, which is what we call in a business is your network effect or virality has kicked in. So now it's completely word of mouth. I completely get my demand organically. We do not do any marketing. My there is no sales team doing an outbound calling. It's all inbound. Yeah, there's two sides.
Got it, understood, that's useful. And last question to you, what's the plan going forward, right? Clearly you have Apple in the bag, and I'm sure you'd be focusing on a few other brands as well, right? How do you plan to scale this business? Where do you see this in 3 to 5 years from now?
I think 3 to 5 years, obviously, I mean, our vision is to be the largest OEM branded player in the world. We believe, I mean, it's just the beginning for us. We started in India, only 30% of our business is international. 3 years from now, it will be 80% international, 20% India. So obviously in the next at least 2 years, we should go public. That's the vision. And I think we are preparing well for going public in the next 2 years.
Okay, and I'm sure that's the case with you as well? Okay, wish you both good luck.
Thank
I'm
you so
sure
much.
you'll have superstar IPOs in the next 2 years. And thank you so much for taking time out for
Thank
this
you,
panel.
Naveen. But apparently we both run very non-sexy businesses, operationally very intense. Thank you for getting us on the stage.
That's where the fun is in India.
Thank you so much, Naveen, Vishesh and Shreevatsa for this wonderful panel. A big round of applause for this amazing session. We have a small ceremony which will take 2 minutes. I'm going to borrow the speakers and then we come back again on the stage in the next 2 minutes. Request your patience. Thank you so much.
As sir said, we'll stick to the program. There's some change, some unforeseen condition with Deputy CM. So maybe he'll come tomorrow or day after. So today on this auspicious day of Ekadashi, we're privileged to have august presence of all of you to bless us as we move to a newer location with newer dreams. This dais is a place where capital meets conviction, and thank you all for joining in. I would like to invite all the co-founders of VCATS, Gaurav sir, Anil ji, Anuj sir. Please come on stage for lighting of the lamp. We have our dignitaries, Nishit Desai sir, Vishesh, Shreevatsa sir, Anuj sir, he's coming, okay.
Rajesh and Naveen.
From 9 unicorns, Rajesh, Ankit, Soham, Naveen Honagudi sir, and Sagar. Please come on stage as we light the lamp. Rishabh, are you there? Sagar and Naveen sir. Rishabh. Yeah. So much. With blessings of God, thank you so much for joining us. Please, Nishit sir, join us for the event. Apur sir, all the other dignitaries, please be seated here. AV team, can we have the brand video play?
It is dynamic. It's agile. It is solving India-specific problems. It is the Indian startup ecosystem, the third largest in the world, which has turned us from a job-seeking to a job-providing country. But what placed us on the global map is the unrivaled ecosystem support and access to funding. Presenting India's #1 and world's #3 integrated incubator venture catalyst group.
In 2015, I realized that the startup as an asset class is emerging and there is a very good future for this. But at that time, we could visualize that India is going to be the biggest startup economy in the world.
When I heard from Anujji and Apurva Bhai about
about startup being the next growth engine, I could envision VCATs playing a crucial role in the startup ecosystem.
It was just a 3-people team. From there, today we have expanded to close to 110 people.
A lot of startups comes to us. They don't understand whether it is a startup qualifying idea or not. We give them right feedback.
From idea stage investing, we are backing entrepreneurs right up to 36 months of their journey, providing them capital, providing them relevant network support.
We help them identify one of the best co-founders of their team. Then they need capital, so we do D-Day. Then they need business, so we organize C-Day for them, where at least 1,000 plus CXO participates. And then we also help them go global.
In last 6 years of its inception, Venture Catalyst has educated hundreds of thousands of investors, entrepreneurs, and some of the unicorns.
A lot of people whom we went and educated become angel investors. Today you have around 7,000 angel investors in India, and out of which close to 3,000 are listed with us.
And we are in a mission to create 100 startup cities in India.
In 2021, we collaborated with Sony TV to bring one of the most popular business reality show called Shark Tank.
As we speak, we are on a success of more than 75 plus companies giving up rounds, exits, liquidity events, multipliers as high as 190 times of the capital which an investor has invested.
The vision was to create an integrated ecosystem that supports startups throughout and allows investors to invest in startups across growth stages and sectors. In September 2020, we launched 9 unicorns. In November 2021, we launched Beam's FinTech Fund. In the May 2022, we launched Elev8 Capital, which is a sector-agnostic, data-driven growth stage fund. In November 2022, we launched Spire, an early-to-growth stage PropTech-focused fund, adding yet another focus sector to our ecosystem.
Venture Catalyst has 300 startups under its umbrella. Some of these have become an integral part of our daily lives, and some have gone to create history.
We have not just been present in the metro cities, but democratized this asset class completely by going to more than 42 cities in India. Today, Venture Catalyst has also grown to 4 international geographies. We are just the only Indian investor who appears in the top 20 list.
Specific to VCATs, I believe that the opportunity to invest in idea stage and early stage entrepreneurs, especially ones coming from small towns and in unconventional industries, is a big one.
Angel investing is one of the least spoken about asset classes, and I feel that that's where ecosystems like Venture Catalysts come in.
I think everybody should allocate some portion of their capital through companies like Venture Catalyst.
If you want to start up, you want to build something big, dream about it, and we are here to back you. Failures are okay. We will face that journey with you and be with you together.
Let's grow with Venture Catalysts, touching 1 million lives.
Thank you. It was a small snapshot of what we have achieved in last 7.5 years. So I remember when we started with Venture Catalyst, startup was not a buzzword. It was not something which was, talking factor, because of now Shark Tank, people are talking about startups. So we have seen that cycle also. So as India enter Amrit Kal, India is poised to become global leader, and we at Venture Catalyst are dedicated and committed to be part of this unprecedented journey of Bharat. With this, I would like to invite Dr. Purv, co-founder of Venture Catalyst Group. Many of you might not be aware, but Dr. Purv is in this industry for 20 years, 20 long years. He has PhD in incubation. He has been awarded as President of India Award for setting up the first incubator of India back then. An early investor of a company called Oyo, which we are all aware of. He is also part of the expert committee and also Seed Fund Committee of India, amongst various other initiatives. Dr. Purv has given a new vision to entrepreneurs in our country by providing not only the capital, but also the most important part, which is mentoring and network support. With this, Dr. Puru, I would like you to highlight the journey of Venture Catalyst as India's first multi-stage VC. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, Poonam. So very quickly, next couple of minutes, I will show you how we have grown and what's the opportunity for all of you here. India, in the last 7 years, we have seen almost doubling the GDP. A new India is born in last 7 years. And next, by 2030, another new India will be born. You can see the numbers, right, which is projected. Close to 10% of the GDP is coming from our unicorns, which are created 108 unicorns. And it is going to be 20-30% in the future. So this is an opportunity for all of us. There is an opportunity for all of us to collaborate and create some impact in the economy. Go to the next slide. So another, look at the breadth of opportunity which we have. You know, in last 7 years, close to $500 billion has come into 61 sectors, 31 states, as well as if you see, this is an opportunity which is widely spread. And these are 40 closed sectors which are opening up. And look at many agriculture, many new sectors are opening up. And this is an investment opportunity for all the investors, all the global investors, which is attracting towards India. And now people say why India is attractive, because it brings diversity, it gives you the breadth of opportunity. Now I'll talk few data points how Venture Catalyst has evolved as a multi-stage VC from integrated incubator from a seed platform. We have always believed, you know, Silicon Valley is the inspiration from across the world. But Silicon Valley is a concentrated economy, a startup economy. They have San Francisco, New York, couple of cities where most of the startup ecosystem is concentrated. Then there came the Greater Bay Area. That's also a part of it. Then came India, the third moving advantage what we have. We realized in 2016 that we can also be concentrated to Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai, maybe 6 cities. At that time, 80% of the startups were concentrated there. We realized that the potential of India is not just 6 cities. The potential of India is at least 50 cities. And we realized that we should unlock this potential. And that is why in last 7 years, close to 70,000 angel investors have applied to Venture Catalyst to become an angel investors. We created a community of around 10,000 angel investors, and that is what unlocking the value of India from tier 2 cities like, you know, Raipur, Jaipur, all these smaller cities. Large number of angel investors have started contributing towards the growth of India by investing in these startups. Also, the companies like IGP, which come from Pune and Lucknow, the company like My Fitness, which come from Silvassa, very tier 5 cities, companies like, you know, the Beardo, Rene Cosmetic come from Ahmedabad. All these smaller city talents, startups have started coming forward, and we invested in all of them to make them category leaders. So this is some change which is happening, and this is the way how Venture Catalyst has disrupted the global VC model by going deep into the ecosystem distributed model. Some data points I will talk about which will reflect about our growth. When Mr. Fadnavis came here in 2016 to inaugurate, he said, Dr. Purva and team, why don't you create multiple unicorns from Mumbai? So we have created 3 unicorns already, and there are about 50 plus companies which are Sunicorns from here, which has created in last 7 years only. So this is big achievement. One data point which probably talks about the growth of Venture Catalyst. This not only investing, we have given 100 plus exits, which is another important data point which was, you know, given to us as a challenge by Honorable Deputy CM, and you see we have achieved that. Large number of exits and very less mortality, less than 10% mortality which we have achieved. This is the impact which we have created across sectors. We are just not concentrated on tech. We have companies, if you see the clean tech, all the companies in clean tech, I mean especially Blue, which is the largest EV cab company, that is our portfolio. You look at the Zip, which is B2B end-to-end delivery company, EV two-wheeler company, that is our portfolio. We have company like ChargeZone, which is the largest charging station company. So in one particular category, you see all the category leader done by us. And that is not just one sector. You will see multiple sectors we have category leaders created. Huge impact our portfolios are creating across sectors. In the end, I will talk about our evolution, how we began. When we launched, we were a seed investment innovation platform. Now we become a multi-stage VC. First unicorn came as a BharatPe in 2021 Fab. Then we launched the first fund, which was January 2020. And then we launched our first fintech fund after BharatPe. And then a couple of other initiatives took us to become evolved as a multi-stage VC firm. Now what's the future? By 2030, from venture catalyst, we're going to deploy close to $1 billion into the startups. By 2030, we're going to create close to 100 plus unicorns and sunicorns from this platform. And we are targeting, we are currently last 3 years consistently top 5 in the world. We are targeting number 1 by 2030. And we are the second most consistently ranked in last 3 years, most active globally, accelerator and in early stage player. I stop here and thank you very much.
Thank you so much. I'm sure the journey of VCAT deserves more number of hours in order to tell what we've achieved and the presence of venture catalysts not only in the metro but also in the non-metros, tier 2 and tier 3, which is our biggest achievement. Democratization of startup as an asset class is something what we've achieved over a period of 7.5 years. Our chief guest, Nishit Desai sir, I would like to first introduce you. He is the founder of a research and strategy of international laws and
others were getting elected, and then it was 930. About 1200 years have gone by. We need to now find new model of democracy, because indirect democracy, what has happened in indirect democracy is that once you elect a member of parliament, okay, you have given power of attorney for 4 years. You can't do anything about it. Even if the constituency has a different will, okay, member of parliament, MLA can vote whatever he wants, right? So does it truly represent the will of the majority? Many times not. So this new technology through the phone, you can take back power of attorney which you gave on any issue that you want and vote it directly. We would have in next 30-40 years more parliamentary proceedings happening in the cloud. Okay. So there is a disintermediation. Of course, there will always be a role for MLAs, MPs and others. And what is that role? Not to take power of attorney, or even if they take, okay, for a limited purpose, but to become educators. Their job is to educate people and let people vote. In 1 minute's time with this phone, billion people can vote, and 2 minutes time you can get results out. So you can reform a lot in terms of India, and therefore today do not worry too much that Deputy CM has not been able to make it. But I think he might be busy with more important work. We appreciate that. And let us celebrate whatever we are doing today, and we'll change the world for the better, stronger together. These are my thoughts today. So enjoy your time as a lawyer. And what we try to do is we look to next 3, 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now and see that and believe that every new technology, every new business model, every new social, political, economic development brings along with it the new strategic, legal, tax or ethical issues. So we look to new technologies and visualize the future problems and possible solutions. And in the process, for example, blockchain, how many things came in? Driverless car, drones, 3D printing, IoT, digital health, okay, 5G, nanotechnology, so on and so forth. So there are a lot of things to work on, and I believe that you will invent a lot of new technologies that will be at the cross section of different disciplines. So it's just not engineering, but bio and engineering together will create. So it's all going to be co-creation. I hope we all can come together, discuss a lot of ideas, but there are tremendous opportunities, and Apurva and his team is always there to help us. So wish you all the best. I don't want to take too much time, but I thought let us celebrate the moment. We have to live in the present, okay? Not feel bad about it, not feel good about it, but enjoy, be happy. And with those words, let me wish you all the best. Have a lot of unicorns come out of your venture catalyst. You are integrated incubator. I just don't say it's incubator per se, it's integrated. And therefore, you integrate a lot of new ideas. And once again, my best wishes to you. Hopefully, you will have tremendous progress made in the fastest possible time, right? Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nashidji, for the encouraging words. Means a lot coming from you. Also, as we know that Deputy CM Devendraji was supposed to come today, but unfortunately stuck in something. So he's been kind enough to send Nidhi. We have on dais with us Nidhi Kamdar. She is an officer on special duty in the Deputy CM's office. Has been working with him for almost now a decade or more. Pretty much part of the team. Devendraji has said that she can deliver us the best wishes, and also Nidhi, you've worked closely with young entrepreneurs across the state and country. So would like to have few words from you. Thank you so much for joining.
Very good evening to one and all. Thank you, Poonam, for this nice introduction. As we all know that we all were very eagerly waiting for the Honorable Deputy Chief Minister of Maharashtra, Shri Devendra Fadnavis ji. Also, let me tell you that he was extremely keen and excited to join you all, and he rarely gets such opportunity to interact with such a wonderful crowd and a different crowd. रोजमर्रा की पॉलिटिकल जिंदगी से ऐसे अलग प्रोग्राम में आने को उनको बहुत अच्छा लगता है, but due to some urgent meetings and also he had a TV interview scheduled, and that interview, of course, as you all can guess it, उन्होंने बहुत ज़्यादा समय ले लिया, and so unfortunately he really could not make it. He really regrets not being with us today. But he has spoken to Apurvaji and he's conveyed his best wishes. Also, he will definitely come sometime very soon here. And apart from this, the very fact that such young person with him
Thank you so much for joining us in this celebration as we move to newer dreams, new office. And yes, Nidhi, you're always welcome to work here, to this vibrant place. Thank you so much. Do join us for some refreshments.